Just kick us off with the Blake Austin deal. How's that come about from your point of view?
Yeah, things started to happen around about 9 o'clock yesterday evening. Got a call saying maybe a possibility of getting obviously Blake to come to Castleford. So we did a little bit of work last night and managed to obviously get the deal done, which is absolutely fantastic news for us. I think it could be a real key addition to us. He's a maverick. He's someone who can win games single-handedly, and I think he'll really help us as a team.
How surprised were you that he became available?
Yeah, shocked when I got the message. I was thinking, nah, it's a wind up. This surely not. And then obviously when things happened, and I end up getting his number, and we had a little bit of a chat, and basically just said about the opportunity to come here and help us stave off the threat of relegation and get some real good performances, get some wins, and be that X factor player that he's been for obviously Leeds and Warrington and Canberra. He said, yeah, it sounds good. And to get someone of his quality, at this time of the year is absolutely fantastic, and brilliant bit of work by obviously the club, and so pleased to have him on board.
But not in time for Friday.
No, not in time for Friday, unfortunately. So he'll obviously come into the environment. Saturday he'll do a little bit of work on Saturday morning. Hopefully after we've had a victory on Friday night, and then get to work with him. With a view to obviously come into consideration for that Wakefield game.
Well, are you expecting any other transfer business, maybe in or out, ahead of the deadline?
There may be one or two in terms of loans, etc., but nothing like major. Nothing major.
Loans out rather than in.
Yeah, possibly a couple of loans out.
What about the new guys, and how have you seen those settle in?
Yeah, they're settling really well. The three guys in Chabelle, Liam and Billy, obviously all living together, that helped. So they've got a little bit of a crew going. Go for coffees and eating out together. That's good for them. All young, like-minded individuals. Really want to stake a claim at Castleford Tigers. Billy, did a good job off the bench for us last week at Hull Kingston Rovers, and Liam and Chabelle have trained really well this week and look sharp. So it's about transferring what they've done on the training field into a good performance on Friday night.
Will we see the other two on debut on Friday?
Yeah, we'll see both of them on Friday night.
Obviously, Blake Austin's come in. It softened the blow of the Riley Dean recall. Did that feel like a bit of a kick in the tender parts at this?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a disappointment. I was in the England get together on Tuesday evening. I can't remember what evening it was. Monday evening. And obviously the news broke while I was in obviously the England get together. Riley's been good for us. He's had 5 weeks of playing Super League rugby week in, week out. He'll be better for that experience. And he thanked us for the opportunity and thanked us for giving him a crack obviously in the competition that he wants to play in. We want to thank Warrington for obviously allowing him to come and get that experience with us. I'm sure he'll go back there and he'll do a good job for himself, and hope that he's learnt a little bit and what he needs to improve on, to stake a claim as a week in, week out regular Super League player.
But I guess at least now you're not having to move players out of position, are you? If certainly from next week onwards with Austin coming in. Yeah,
that's probably something which has been brought to my attention really with speaking with Milky. Obviously Jacob's obviously played I think every round of Super League at 7, but the changes that he's had around him in terms of the fullback, the 9, the 6, it's been difficult for him to get any sort of like consistency and continuity in that position. We haven't bleated about our injuries, and we haven't bleated about sparring players missing, but we have suffered terribly with injuries, and it does affect continuity, and it affects obviously consistency for players who are trying to find good form themselves. So it's been difficult, and hopefully the next 7 weeks Blake can sit in alongside Milky, and we can get some consistency in those half-back positions. Both complement each other with the strengths that they've both got, and hopefully we'll be able to score more points and look more of attacking threat and a more balanced team from an offensive point of view, and that will help us, to get some wins which we desperately need.
Just on that spine, how far away is Paul McShane now?
No, he's still a couple of weeks away. Highly unlikely that he'll play again this season. So it's tough for Maka. He's got to see the specialist, but it'll be unlikely that he'll play for us this season.
Has there been a setback in that regard?
Oh no, it's just the nature of the injury. Obviously, fairly significant one to the forearm. So, he's doing everything he can. But it's unlikely that he'll play. If we get him back for the big for a couple of games at the end of the season, then obviously it's a bonus, but it's looking unlikely.
Just an update on JT's thumb.
Yeah, JT's come back. Looks in good shape. He's been very, very professional away from the place. He's concentrated on his nutrition and done a little bit. He trained today, ran alongside Paul McShane and Niall Evans and Jackson Hale, and they was all obviously doing their rehab and return to play stuff. So that was good to see JT there. He's keen to get a good couple of weeks training under his belt, and hopefully, there may be an opportunity of him coming to selection with the Wakefield game in mind as well.
Just on players before we talk about Huddersfield, is there any truth in the reports that Kenny Edwards has requested an early termination?
Kenny's with us until the end of the season. Those discussions are ongoing, but he's fully committed with regards to his contract for the next couple of years. We'll, broach that subject at the end of the season as and when, the time's right. But at the moment, he's fully committed to obviously fulfilling his contract obligations here at Castleford Tigers.
But did that surprise you that he wants to go?
We was aware of it. Some, issues in terms of, family, being here a long time, etc. So we've had the discussions. Obviously, we've been catching the look with Kenny, but like I say, he's contracted. He's fully committed, till the end of the season.
Huddersfield then, Friday night home game. I keep asking you this week in, week out. How significant is this one? Does this feel bigger than some of the others?
No, it's a strange one. Probably I'd say the last 6 to 8 weeks. Every game's important for us. The importance of performing well and getting to a competition points are extremely of value. We've trained well, and the preparation that we've put into the games have been good. The final part of it, we just aren't getting right, which is performance, and that's a little bit of the pressure of the situation. If I could get out there and strap up my own boots and stick my headband on and go into battle with them, I'd do that. We feel they're prepared and they're ready to play. Just the final part of it, we just need those big players, in those key moments in the game, to deliver some quality performances. The talent's there. The confidence is still there. They've just got to believe in themselves and put it together when it comes to game day.
How easy is it to sort of detach the anxiousness of the predicament?
It's difficult, JD. I won't lie to you. The enormity of the situation that we find ourselves in is there. The players are aware of it without me having to constantly, tell them, they know. Sunday comes and, Wakefield get a win and, your phone goes berserk. So every player will, get the same. So it's there. They're fully aware of it. What we've got to do is try and alleviate some of that pressure by focusing on what we can control, which is our own performance, how we turn up to train, the energy that we attack the training days with, the positivity that we show, the words that we use, the body language that we show. And that is something that we have really, really been conscious of, making sure that it's positive and make sure that we're confident and make sure that, we're priming them with the right sort of delivery. The final part of it is they've got to make sure that the 6 inches between the ears is ready to play. And there's been moments in games where we're right there and we're right in that contest, and then we just come up with the wrong decision or a misread or the wrong pass, and it spirals into a period of, poor performance where the scoreboard goes away from us and we haven't dealt with that well enough. That's certainly been the case in the last 3 weeks. But, Friday is another opportunity at home in front of a crowd which is fully supportive of us, and they'll give us obviously the vocal support that we need, and hope that we can go out there and put in a real strong performance against a very, very good Huddersfield team who found a little bit of form.
It's clearly a huge game for the club, but how important does it feel for you to get a result this week as a coach?
Well, obviously it's important, 2 competition points. Them 2 competition points are valuable for us as a team and for us as a club, and they're certainly valuable for me as a coach. I've had plenty of, positive, messages from, people within the game, supporting, what we're doing. I'm confident in my ability, and I'm confident in what I've been delivering. We just need to go out and put a good performance together now. So, working extremely hard. I've had plenty of nights where I've not been sleeping, thinking about how we can generate a performance from these guys. So we've done a little bit of work this week on, being the best version of themselves, and done some motivational stuff with them. Hopefully we'll see that come to fruition on Friday night.
Yeah, you talk about sleepless nights. There's a vocal section of the fan base that's been asking for a change, and some who didn't want an internal appointment in the first place. Is that affecting you, or are you able to block out that outside noise?
Don't listen to it. Social media, Facebook, all that type of stuff. It's just negativity, what I don't need in my life. So I stay well away from it. Those people, can say what they like on, the forums and all that type of stuff. I don't read it. The only time I hear about it is from someone like yourself, telling me, or someone on the street telling me. I can't let that affect, obviously, my mentality, going into games. So I'm not aware of it, and, I don't let it, affect me.
Yeah. Do you feel you've got the full backing of the club? Does the recent business say as much?
The backing of the club, 100%. The playing group are fully behind me. I know the club are fully behind me. The sections of the supporters, maybe not, but there'll be a lot of the supporters who are. Those are the diehards. They support the team. They don't just support the coach, they support the team. And we need those supporters with the team. And I think that's really, really important. They've been brilliant, in supporting the team, and I want them to continue supporting the team. They can air the frustrations at me. I understand that. I understand that comes with the territory. There's a lot of passion and a lot of emotion involved, and game nights, it becomes very emotional. And, if they air their opinions and the discontent with obviously me, I understand their frustrations, and I understand that's what comes with the role of being the head coach. But I just want them to support that team and get behind the team as much as they possibly can, and they have done. We had good support away at Hull Kingston Rovers, and the players, went over at the end of the game and clapped them, and the fans, supported that team, and we just want them to continue to do that.
Have you seen enough since that OKR game to leave you convinced you'll get the desired response from the players this week?
Yeah, the response this week has been really good. And like I say, and there's other coaches who've said it before, and, we aren't transferring what we're doing on the training field consistently enough in performance. That's the final part of it. And as a coach, you're responsible for getting the players in peak condition to perform at the weekend. And we haven't been able to do that. The final part of performance relies on the players delivering what they've practiced and what they've done. And there's been so many occasions this year where they haven't been able to get the job done. That's on them. And they're aware of that, and they're man enough and responsible enough to know that, we don't take the field with them as a coaching staff. We give them a plan. We do a preview. We put the training sessions together, try and replicate, game day pressure, scoreboard pressure, etc., in the scenario stuff that we do on the training field. But when it comes to those 80 minutes, it's very, very difficult to simulate what you get on the training field in a game. So, the players are aware of it, that they need to step up and deliver.
Just very briefly on sort of a different subject, the International Rugby League have announced the calendar this morning. Just with your England hat on, are you excited at the thought of Ashes tours back? And
absolutely buzzing with it. I can't tell you how excited I am for the game. To have an international program where you're talking about England, going up against the Kiwis and going up against the Aussies, and the old-fashioned 3 test matches, to showcase who's the best. We've seen what the England v Australia rivalry is recently in the cricket, and, rugby league has to, pounce on that and getting the international programme out like we've done. I just think it's fantastic for the game. We had an England get-together on Monday, and, Sean spoke so passionately about, England and, the Test match series against Tonga, and then seeing the international programme and, seeing on the calendar that, there's an Ashes series, for every player in the competition, they should be absolutely striving with everything that they've got to get into, the consideration for going on a 3-4 week, tour to Australia to play in a Test match. And like for me, I'm absolutely desperate to stay on board and part of the England setup, to be able to say that, I've been part of an Ashes series, because in 2020, when I got the job with England, they cancelled the Ashes series at the end of that year. And that was absolutely devastating, because I grew up on watching, Test matches. I can remember doing my paper round and, looking through, the windows, and obviously Great Britain were playing the Aussies on grandstand, and there's Ella Hanley doing a chip over and a regather at Wembley, and Paul Eastwood scoring 2 tries, obviously a Hull FC hero of man, and Lee Jackson and Carl Harrison playing for Great Britain, and they were Hull FC players at the time. It's just absolutely everything you want, and I'm speaking very, very passionately about it because I grew up on it, absolutely, made up that there's a full international programme which puts, rugby league, firmly on the map again. So, yeah, buzzing with it.